You'll be seated. Next, we're moving on to item number 3, which is our confirmation of the minutes. So to move that. Yeah, Director Joseph, I believe there is an amendment. Yeah.
There has been an amendment to the minutes. There was a sentence missing from the public question. That's since been corrected and updated with both what's in the agenda and on Council's website. So that amendment's been made.
Thank you. So someone to move the minutes with that amendment. Thank you, Councillor Wright. Seconded by Councillor Simpson. Does anyone have any questions or comments on those minutes? Can I put that to the vote that we accept them? All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried 7-0. On to item number 4, business arising. Would any councillor like to raise any business arising from the minutes? There is just a note that there is a response to the public question by Phil Batty is included in the agenda for the public. So next we're moving on to item number 5, which is the mayoral minute. Now this is part of the agenda that's set aside for business which the mayor wishes to be considered at a meeting without notice. So this matter arises from 2 complaints made to the Office of the Independent Assessor about the conduct of Councillor Mike Brunker. So recommendations were made by the Office of the Independent Assessor on how to deal with the complaint, and it is recommended that in this first instance, Council provides Councillor Brunker with the opportunity to voluntarily deal with this matter by voluntarily apologising to the resident who sent the original email. So Councillor Brunker has agreed to make the apology, and I remind Councillor Brunker to be mindful of the Councillor Code of Conduct in making this apology. And I'd like to call on Councillor Mike Brunker to make the apology. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Apparently, when I did send out an email or received an email which said about a particular issue at Horseshoe Bay Hanson Park, I replied saying, what a load of rubbish, it should be constructed immediately. I didn't feel that was disrespectful or discourteous in any way. If those people who received that
Councillor
email...
Brunker, can I just remind you that this is an apology?
Yeah,
and that doesn't sound like an apology.
Well, I'm getting to the apology. I'm just, the council, being confidential, the council is sitting around the table, wouldn't know what it's about. So, getting to that, I will certainly, if those people in that email list received that and thought that, I certainly apologise for that, because in no way it was certain to be disrespectful or discourteous. So for that, I do apologise. I would like to raise in matters of importance about the OIA and their role in this particular matter.
Thank you, Councillor Brunker. So moving on to item number 6, notice of motion. So moved by Councillor Wright. Someone to second that. Thank you, Councillor Collins. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak to your notice of motion? Thank you.
Thank you, through the chair. Look, this has been a bit of a project of mine. It was brought to my attention through Queens Beach residents. So the area that we're looking at is Yasso Point end of Queens Beach. So I'll just read through a bit of the background in case you're not aware, but after listening to feedback from several Queens Beach residents about enhancing Yasso Point, further community information was needed. So despite Yasso Point not being a priority project currently in the Bowen Master Plan, its significance to the community was recognised. To ensure feedback from Queens Beach residents was heard, I held a community meeting on Tuesday the 3rd of October from 4 to 6 p.m. at Yasso Point. The gathering was well attended and members from the Yasso family were invited, as well as the local kite surfing group, Queens Beach Action Group, and a substantial number of Queens Beach residents also attended. For those that could not attend on the day, feedback was also received and collected via email. So the point of today's motion is just to acknowledge that feedback has been received and it is a priority area for the residents at Queens Beach, and I just basically wanted to present it to Council today to look into taking action moving forward for this area.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any comments or questions? So can I put that motion to the vote? All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. On to item number 7, deputations, and we have not received any for this meeting today. Number 8, petitions, questions on notice. Does any councillor have any petitions that they wish to put to the table today? No. So moving on to item number 9, questions from the public gallery. We don't have any questions from the public gallery received today. So moving on to item number 10, our committee reports, which we also don't have any today. On to agenda item number 11, our officers' reports, and 11.1, the Tondara Road seal.
Could I move that, please?
Yes, moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor Simpson.
I would like to make an amendment, please, to the motion. So, just a bit of background. Like we have discussed this. This has been in the budget for quite a few years now, and I guess the idea was while the mine was there, we were going to fully seal a contribution along with the gold mine to seal Tondara Road. However, they've now gone into receivership, so I guess there is still residents that do live on that road. We have got money already allocated in the budget for this, and I know it was brought back to council to say that there would be a slight amendment, we weren't going to seal anymore, and that's why I've asked for this to come back to the table for us to give direction for this matter. But I would like to move that we do continue just to seal 150 metres on Tondara Road past the residents that are affected, because at some point this mine will take ownership again, and they will start carting material across this road. So it's already in the budget. So yeah, I guess my amendment today is to move ahead with continuing the 150 metre seal from Tondara Road.
Gary,
No.
so the seconder?
Yeah, look, it's not that I don't agree, but after reading the report, like, you know, the 150 metres, it's just near the house, it's 450 metres off the road, pretty much upwind of...
No, it's not upwind, it's not upwind.
Anyway.
Yes.
The particular residents who've been whinging there, the Lowers family, have lived there for many years, and I'd get continued, particularly with the southeasterlies brine, it goes right across the house. They've actually tried to grow trees there to break the dust down, and we've always assured them that this section, obviously the road eventually would be sealed, but I certainly understand while the mine's in receivership, we can't do that. But while the money's there, if we do 150 metres, well certainly, whether the mine starts or not again, these people will be protected from the dust. Because we did originally do it to the car park where the buses pulled up, but it didn't go far enough. Had we gone that little bit extra when we did the last one, we wouldn't have a problem.
So I'm just going to go back to Councillor Simpson.
I'll withdraw my second.
I'll second it.
Yeah, so
Just get the wording right.
and to vote on that.
That will be the motion for debate, if we get the wording right.
Okay.
So you can, with the permission of the mover, we can still add in the fact that we're not sealing the rest of it due to the mine going into receivership. We're only talking about that 100 metres, so we're not talking about the whole length of the road, just the 100 metres where the bitumen stops now.
So Just making sure we got the, you happy with that?
Are you okay with one?
No, this budget now we're talking.
So that's the whole motion's been changed, the step 1, step 2?
Yeah, no, that's
The motion?
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. We did discuss this at the briefing session last week, and we did ask for a motion to be brought back regarding this. So that's why I'm not sure where that is, but that's why we're doing it this way today. But unless there's a problem with the budget, like where is the funds? Are they still sitting there allocated to this particular project?
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So the reason why we put in for the 24-25 budget is we do have funding this year, but we just don't have the capacity to deliver in the next 6 months. So the safe bet is to put in the 24-25, which does have budget still for Tondara Road. So essentially that gives us a chance to look at it, scope it, and put it in the appropriate package and deliver that in that next month.
Michael, how much would that cost?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So we haven't really been out there, looked at it, and estimated it, sketched it up what it would be. Off the top of my head, I would say it's probably $100,000 to $150,000.
Thanks, Director. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Councillor Bowman?
Thank you. This is the Glen Rock station, isn't it? So I've kind of looked at this in the southeast breezes, and page 19 of the agenda has the proximity to the road. I'm just trying to work out, you know, where they are affected. Is it in the predominant southeasters, or is it
Southeasters, yeah.
just the satellite photo that's shown to me, page 19 of the agenda, and other satellite images I've looked, doesn't seem to show that that section of road would be blowing dust across them.
Well, I could bring this to Lois now if you like, just to ask them.
Councillor Bronca,
No.
please keep
Oh, just,
through the chair, please.
it's civil.
Thank you, Michael.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So just to clarify for you, this is now looking at a separate section of road. The road is sealed to approximately 5.3 kilometres from the highway. So this is an extra 150 metres from there. So what is shown in the report, that's a further 13, 14 kilometres along the road. So we're moving the goalpost to another location. What's in the report is not obviously based on what's been done.
Councillor Whiteham.
Just to finalise through the chair. Look, this was budgeted, so I would really like to see this. I know the residents out there, everyone's probably sick of me talking about Tondara Road, and it has been a bit of a headache over the years, but this is one way that we can rectify that. We do have money in the budget. It was always allocated to seal this road, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. All we're doing is just reducing the amount of seal that we're putting down. So yeah, look, and I can understand we can't move ahead and seal the entire thing. There's no point in doing that right at this point in time because the mine is in receivership. But all I'm asking is that we just reduce the seal, just to put these residents that live on this road at ease, because they do follow. There is cattle trucks, there's vehicles, there's hay trucks, there's all sorts of things that do use this road. It's one of the busiest roads in the region. That's why it's one of the higher order roads. So yeah, I would really appreciate it if this could be supported today.
Director, can I just ask a question?
Yeah, go on.
Yep. With the resheeting and doing the proper resheet on that road, does that actually reduce the dust? If it's got the proper seal and the proper sheeting on it, would that reduce the dust?
So pretty much the works that are currently being carried out to resheet the road, obviously it's still a gravel road. So over time with traffic you will get some dust. The seal, the additional 150 metres would reduce the dust exposure that this residence is getting. If we don't seal it, not really changing the circumstances, but it will take a little longer for that dust to come up. Once the road's fresh, it takes a while for it to break down, so you don't get dust until it breaks down. If you want a longer term solution, then seal is an option.
Councillor Hunt.
So the fact that we're resheeting the road now is probably the best time to do a seal if you're going to do it, because the first thing you have to do is build your road up to reseal it. So that's going to be the cheapest option. I understand Councillor Wright might have a hang up with the 24-25 budget, but as the officer has said, the money's there. You're not going to get it done before Christmas now anyway. We have a prolonged wet season with a few more cyclones. It is going to get into March, April, May, so it would just be as soon as possible that it's scoped up, because the scoping work has to be done, and we're certainly not against that.
Councillor Hunt.
Madam Mayor, to the Director, if we did seal at the front of these people's house and then further down the track, 13 or 14 kilometres up the road, somebody else says their house is affected by dust, what do we do with them?
Thank you, Councillor, through Madam Mayor. So essentially it comes down to consideration of many points that are already in the report. At this stage, our recommendation is not to seal the section further down the road. We do not see that that would have much of any benefit to the dust to that residence, mainly because of the distance, the wind direction, whereas this other section at the end of the seal is different consideration. It's prevailing winds, as Councillor Roberts said, they would get more dust than other locations. So it's not an apples to apples, they're completely separate. We've recommended that one we don't, but this one here has some sense to it. So council believe that they want that done, then we can. Might as well take the opportunity as well, as Councillor Bronco said, one of the reasons we put it in 24-25 is we've just got to check we're not missing anything. We just completed a reseal package around the region, so we would have to bring in a crew specifically for this job. It's not impossible, but we're just looking at more efficiency and really following the framework, making sure we check is there any drainage problems. We don't know if there's any culverts that need checking. Just giving us a chance to really give it what it's needing. See what I actually really like.
And that's probably where I've got, the only problem I've got with this one is that we haven't scoped it up. We don't know all the information. And so we're basically making a decision without the information, and that's what I seem to have a little bit of a problem with. So, yeah, Councillor Wright.
Thank you. Through the Chair. Look, we have scoped this up because I know there is some works that have been done on this road. Like they've gone through and they've done all the creek crossings, like they've cemented. So there has been a little bit of work put into this. This has been going for quite a few years. Like it was, we did have the money put aside to do this work. So obviously there's been some sort of thought put into this. And then it sort of the change shifted, and that's why I've asked for this to come back to this table so we can decide what we do. But yeah, I understand, like, projects don't always sort of go to plan and they do get pushed back into different budgets. But at the end of the day, I just don't want to see this lost. Like, we're so close. Yeah, if it takes like another 6 months or whatever to get the scoping right, that's fine. I'm happy with that. But I just don't want to see the money lost, because it is necessary on this road. It's one of the worst roads in our region.
And I'm not totally against it. I just, like I said, I'd just like to see the actually what it's going to cost. That's, so I'm just, would like to, can we move to lay it on the table until we get those figures? Councillor Simpson, second.
No?
I want to make a comment.
Yeah.
Oh, just a comment, if that's okay. Like, I'm a bit unfamiliar with this. I don't have too many issues with people wanting less dust. I've got hundreds of people between here and Gunyara Road that want less dust. People ask it almost every day. The issue I have is, it's a question probably for the acting director. Going along a gravel road at 80 or 100 k's an hour, the dust travels with you. So if you seal 100 metres, it's probably not going to solve the problem. I'm thinking it's probably not going to solve the problem. So that's the issue I have. Like, do we do it for everyone that has dust? I know going down my road, the dust just follows me, and the neighbour at the end of the road actually has bitumen road in front of them, but they cop all the dust. So that's just a scenario.
So I would like to move that we lay this on the table just to get some more information. Seconded by Councillor Bowman. All those in favour?
So just before we vote on that, sorry, we've tabled this once before for this particular reason. Like, this will be the third time we've tabled this. Yeah, look, I guess everyone knows my position on this. Like, why hasn't the work been done? Because yeah, this is really, really important. It's been going on for years. Yeah, like, this has always been the intention to seal like this road. So I'm not in favour of tabling it. Like, I would like to get a resolution. Like, we need to sort this out.
I think I would be to vote for this, so Councillor Wright, I would like to see those figures. I'm not against this. I'm not saying that I'm against it. I just want to actually see what the actual costing is going to be, because that has changed. You're reducing the size of the seal. The original has changed. So, like I said, I'm not against it. Absolutely not against it. I just wanted to see what it's actually going to cost. Councillor.
I agree with tabling it, because I'd like to see the finer detail as well. Perhaps you would like to add into your tabling that specific costing, etc., come back to our first and second council meeting. Just a thought.
I'm happy to bring it back to the next council meeting and add that to be.
Like, I'd be happy to bring it back to the next council meeting, just to do a drive past personally. Like, like I said before, 100 metres, it might not solve the problem of dust, and we'll be back. They'll be nailing you and want another 100 metres and another 100 metres. That's all.
I'd possibly be different if the mine was operational. I think we've already seen the number of changes that have happened, change of hands, then on-site production, removing the number of truck movements, now in receivership without that additional traffic. I still understand there are other trucks running along there, but as I said, there's a lot of people who live on dirt roads. I think if we start, patching up bits of bitumen everywhere there's dust complaints, no matter how considerable, then we end up chasing our tail for a long time.
Can I just make a comment? Yeah. So this isn't just any old road. Like, this is a high order road that we have in our region. There is, like, I know many years ago there was, like, with Strathmore Road, we were slowly sealing that because it was one of the busiest roads in our gravel network region. So, and this one is no different. Like, there's beef trucks on there all the time. Like, it's not just a normal gravel road. It is very busy, and it is one of the high order roads in our region. I wouldn't be doing it for any back road gravel road. Like, this is important.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. So I'm just going to put that motion to lay it on the table and bring it back to the next meeting to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried 5-2. So next on the agenda we have 11.2, our Mullers Lagoon Master Plan. Moved by Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Wright.
It's just a minor alteration. I'd just like to put in the master plan before it is released to the public. It's just that there's a dog off-leash area which is possibly partially fenced. And I think through the consultation that came back from the large number of people involved, the overwhelming support was for it to remain a nature reserve. So I was just wondering if it was possible within the master plan to move the dog reserve up to the northeast corner, which is a very underutilised piece of land up there, and there's also been some variation between the bridge at the eastern end, whether that is for vehicles or pedestrians. So I'd just like to put an amendment in there that the master plan moves the dog off-leash area to the northeastern corner, and that the eastern bridge is for pedestrian use.
Anyone like to comment on that?
That's the second one.
Second, sorry.
Can I just ask a question? Could we just bring the map up, please?
Page 32.
Just adding the story training.
Yeah, that's all.
Large.
So that top corner, that's where you're proposing to put the dog off-leash area. So what is up the top there? So can we just move it? Yeah, yep. So what is up there? It's just a house? Is there anything else?
So there is the private property that's on that centre peninsula, and then the other area is all just bare grass and lawn at the moment. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see pretty much below there is the rectangular box that's on a bit of an angle there. That's the proposed dog off-leash area. Just from discussion with some locals, things like that, the idea of having a dog off-leash area, even if it's partially fenced, might invite a large number of unleashed dogs running through that southern section. I don't think anyone would see a problem with people walking their leash dogs through there, right round the lagoon, you get up to that relatively isolated, wide open grass area that could then be a dog off-leash area. It would hopefully help to separate the natural wildlife and the domestic animals.
That's all right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Dogs have to go around.
So that is the motion. If we just go back to the motion with that amendment. So that now becomes the motion. Can you like to speak to that, Councillor Clifford?
Through you to with the acting director and maybe director of communities. I understand what you're saying, but there's nowhere up there to car park, and if people are going to take their dogs to an off-leash area, the dogs are not going to be on a leash. So therefore, from where the other car parking is, you're going to have dogs off-leash, along pathways, etc. Because I can't see anywhere else where do you know what I'm... Yeah, thank you. I just think it's a public safety issue.
Isn't there access from the back?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is access from the back, and there's plenty of green space to park, because I've actually parked there. So you can actually come in from the back.
So what's the eastern bridge?
Just through the chair, please.
Yeah. What's the eastern?
I can speak to that. If you look where the creek flows in to the lagoon, if you just scroll across to where the eastern parking area is, there's just that culvert that flows over with water. So there is a bridge proposed there, but the text at the moment says it is for vehicles. So it says a new bridge upgrade the existing causeway to a vehicle bridge. I'm just wondering with the cost of a vehicle bridge and why we would actually need cars to be through there. I just know in other discussions a pedestrian bridge was mentioned.
I'll go to the director, thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So obviously every aspect here would go through scoping and framework, but the idea there really is more, to think of the Canberra Lakes, we've got the access way there. It allows vehicles, but it's bollarded up so that it's not just a general thoroughfare. So that's a similar idea. It's just to allow, say, our parks vehicles to be able to get through, do their maintenance. It's not to allow people to drive along the roads that are there next door.
Because I think you'll be up for closing a road as well, because I think that is a gazetted road along there, so that's always been there, so it's some sort of culvert, the water needs to go through there for flood reasons, but certainly a pedestrian bridge or a culvert, that's all you need, as long as people can walk along there, and I'm assuming people will drive there regardless, so you're either going to have to close that road, both sections you're coming off Queen's Road, so people will park there to walk their dogs, and it's usually a shortcut. So I can't support it not being a vehicle bridge.
I'd be happy to adjust if it's controlled, that it's not just open traffic through there through the causeway or whatever. But pedestrians only does not stop it being a vehicle bridge. It just says that it is for pedestrians. And one other thing, when we're up there, I know this would all be finalised, but it does show a car park, but it also says that it's bollarded off at the end to stop, to allow only service vehicles. So I'm sure that's just a fine print thing that might be worked out. But I'm just wondering why we have bollards on the entrance to a road.
Any further questions or comments? So can I put that?
Is the Eastern Bridge for still pedestrian only, or what? That's important. It's just
Access.
Yeah. Pedestrian access. Councillor Bowman, you're happy with that? Councillor Wright?
Yeah, so what do we need a vehicle bridge for in that particular area? For maintenance?
Pretty much, yeah, it's essentially just to allow our ride-on mowers, or chairs or not, allow the ride-on mowers to get through. We've got similar examples elsewhere, so it may, as Tom said, could be a culvert with a bollard, as long as it's tractable. It's also potentially an emergency service access if absolutely necessary. So we don't want just a footbridge. We do want something that's multi-use, but we can control it. So I think if you just tweak the wording a bit, we're happy.
I think we should leave that one how it is.
Let's go back to the motion, please. And on the last one. You're happy?
Just would we be better off just removing the mention of the bridge and then leave that up to operational team to deal with the final print, so that we're not putting anything into the resolution that may give us not the best outcome? Just be happy to remove from and that we just deal with the guideline we share and leave the team to come up with the best access outcomes.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah, that's good, thanks.
Okay. Okay. Last chance. Any further questions? Well, let's put this motion. All those in favour? Yeah, motion is carried 7-0. Next, we're up to item 11.3, the Shute Harbour Boat Ramp, moved by Councillor Simpson, and I'll second that one. I'm going to ask our Director of Commercial Businesses, Craig Turner, to speak to this one, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the paper here talks to a number of options that relate to the TMR-owned Shute Harbour Boat Ramp. We've been in negotiation with DTMR for more than 3 years, trying to find a solution to boat ramp provides community that essentially is fit for purpose, based on feedback, based on design, based on tidal movements. So the report seeks to have a conversation and push the resolution that will allow the CEO to negotiate to have the council take over that facility. There's a number of options we can do. TMR have agreed if we were to take the facility over, they would remove the fixed structure, which is the problem, and then there would be a design done, which is budgeted for this year. There would be money in next year's budget, along with additional money required to actually be able to fix this to a floating boat ramp at 46 metres by 2.5 metres that would allow for facility to benefit the community.
Thank you, Craig. I'd just like to speak to this one. So I'm really pleased this has finally come to council. It's been a very drawn-out process. I actually had my first initial meeting with the Minister over 12 months ago in November 2022. And I'd like to thank the Minister and MSQ for entering into discussions to try and work out together to find a solution that is that's continually caused community backlash in regards to this boat ramp. I understand and accept the decision that was made by the state at the time to build the fixed walkway after Cyclone Debbie obliterated Shute Harbour, and without wave mitigation structures, it was decided at the time that a fixed structure would be the best outcome. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. So we've since discussed that if there were to be a floating walkway, that the fishing pontoon would be adequate enough to provide wave mitigation, and a floating structure could be removable in the event of a cyclone. So council currently owns our Port of Airlie, Canavale, Mandalay Road and Wilson Beach boat ramps, and we also maintain quite a number of boat ramps across the region, including Shute Harbour. I'm very supportive of this because we've got one shot at fixing a long-standing community issue. And this issue holds the reputation of our wonderful Shute Harbour Marine Terminal to ransom, and by owning and improving this asset, we'll improve the usability and functionability of the facilities we already operate at Shute Harbour. If Grubby Bay is ever built, which is on the cards, this will still not be a waste of money because we can potentially commercialise the boat ramp to bring in a return in the future. I'm seeking your support on this one, councillors, for our boating community. This is one of the best locations to launch a boat in Whitsundays, given the proximity to the reef. It's a long-standing issue that you all know all too well, and we have one shot to work with the state and finally find a solution. So I really hope that you take this opportunity to support the community on this one. Thank you. Councillor Simpson.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I support this. I realise there's a little bit of angst probably around the table with this one, but I support it's not only the best destination, best spot to launch a boat in the Whitsundays, it's the best place in Australia as far as I'm concerned. Let's hope Grubby Bay comes to fruition. We need to advocate for it, or stage 2, whatever it's called. But just on this one, you know, it's been 3 years since I started on council. It's been a serious problem for a number of boaties. The complaints don't just come through from our engaged citizens. There's all sorts of long-term residents and boaties. I just hope this gets up today because I think it's a great initiative.
Councillor Munn.
Well, I certainly won't be supporting this because, as far as I'm concerned, this is a crop. We have told the state government from day one that boat ramp wasn't going to work. Day one. The public told us, we've copped a hiding for, ever since they put that in, that it was our boat ramp. The most I'd support is the fact that we put a sign up and tell people it's not our boat ramp, and the phone number for MSQ in Mackay to complain, to put your complaints through. And I think the motion is a little bit sneaky as far as nil acquisition costs. So the nil acquisition cost means they're giving it to us for nothing, but the cost we are then going to pay for the state government's mistake, which 2 motions ago we had to table something because we didn't know the finances, and yet dot point 2 says refer to the financial year budget. How much is this going to cost the ratepayers to fix a state government mistake?
Okay. Councillor, just before we go to that, there has been costings and stuff in the report, in financial implications. if you'd like to have a look at that, Councillor.
Yeah, I'd just like to hear it, so the public can hear what it is.
So, Craig?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So that the QSing that's been done, it's done in August this year, says that the actual cost is from $1.54 million. Taking into consideration this $500,000 budget, that will be short for about $1 million.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Clifford.
Thank you. Through you to my friend Craig. If they demolish the wall, so we're looking, into the next financial year to do it, would the boat ramp be actually usable without the wall?
No, so what we would do is we would align the demolition to the rebuild. So we would have to run parallel. So the removal would take place, then the installation would occur. So there'd be a period where it wasn't operable, but we'd actually align the demolition with repair.
I don't recall there ever being a wall or anything down there pre-cyclone.
No, there wasn't. There were
Yeah.
pillars in the light, that's correct.
Yeah,
So
thank
it's a hard, thin structure that they're proposing to remove.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Bun.
Thank you. I think we all know a lot of people use that boat ramp. They all line up. This morning we just all supported improvements at Yasso Point for a gravel car park. I'm sure everyone down at Chute would love just to have a gravel car park. In the distant future, we probably have a chance of Grubby Bay coming to fruition, but I still see that being a number of years off. I think this really does fix an issue that is directly affecting not only our residents, but also the large investment that's gone into the terminal. I think in our recent Facebook post on 1 hour free parking down there, the comments flowed through about the boat ramp. This is the thing, that there is reputational risk that we are wearing, even though it is a state government issue, but we've seen after a very long amount of negotiations and push backwards and forwards that we're stuck with what we've got, and it's up to us to fix it. So I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Councillor.
Yeah, thank you, through the chair. Look, we were at a local government conference, and I know the Mayor and Councillor Simpson and a few others there as well. There was a whole segment at the local government conference on cost shifting, where the state governments are handing things on to local councils to look after. And I know, Mayor, you're strongly against that. Look, I've heard you sort of speak about that. We need to start pushing back. This is exactly this instance. So knowing that we're taking on another asset, which is going to cost us money, it is a recreational boat ramp at this stage. When we have our own infrastructure, for example, the bridge out at Ted Cunningham Bridge, where, that's our asset and we still don't know who's going to fix it or who's going to pay for it. So I think we really need to be considering where we're spending our money and what we're spending ratepayers' funds on. We need to be looking after our core business. Another example is our local roads. We can't afford to do even our local roads, and yet we're looking at taking over a state government boat ramp, which is not ours. There is no reputational risk here. The reputational risk lies in not being able to cover our core business, like our local roads, our bridges. I know Councillor Simpson has a bridge that we've looked at several years ago that still hasn't been fixed. So I think we need to be smart about this and focus on what needs to be fixed in our communities, which is our local assets.
Thank you, Councillor Wright, and I'll just comment on that. And this, like I said, this is a reputational risk to council. It has been a reputational risk for a long time. It is an asset that we can actually commercialise in the future, should Grubby Bay come on board. So it is something. We already own a number of boat ramps. This is just adding to the number of boat ramps that we own. I understand, you're saying to stick to core business, and, I do know quite a number of times here, you've actually supported things that should be state supported, like the BATs, for instance. So, that's not a council, it's a cost shifting to council that maybe should be funded by the state. So I can't really see the difference in that. Councillor Griffith.
Thank you, Nick. This is in my division. It's the smallest little division. It has the second highest money maker for council, and to me, this is a small price to pay for the safety of our community, which is the second, I think it's the second largest or the largest boat registration. It would be really good if the state would like to chip some money in as well as giving us the boat ramp, Mr. CEO. But this is something that's got to be fixed, and it's got to be fixed soon. People have been badly injured down there, and it's a great concern to me.
Councillor Collins.
I'm really struggling to understand why we're even contemplating spending money on something that is not our problem. 2 months ago we sat in the council meeting room and voted down the idea of spending money on the Proservine RV stop because it was spending money on something that was not our asset. We have councillors on social media stating they would not spend money on someone else's property. Talk about hypocrisy, honestly. The Chute Harbour boat ramp is not our problem. This asset is owned by the main roads. They created this problem. We should not be picking up the pieces and forking out that sort of money. So what is the difference between us spending money on the RV stop and the Chute Harbour boat ramp? It was proven the RV stop boosted the business in Proserpine, yet council decided it wasn't worth spending money on. Yet here we have someone wanting to spend more than twice that amount of money on the boat ramp that is not our asset. Where we draw the line? Do we fix up Hamilton Plains next? Do we fix up Giganga? What about the Pelway boat ramp? Do we go there? You know, it's just where we draw the line. You know, we've got to stop spending money on something that it's not our problem. We spoke to them from the start. We told them where the problem was. We told them what needed to be done and what didn't need to be done, and they went ahead and did what we didn't want. So it's as far as I'm concerned, it's anyone that supports this and voting against the RV stop, it's hypocrisy, honestly.
I'd just like to comment on that one too. There is a big difference here. We're acquiring the boat ramp, so it will become our asset. So the money that will be spent on it will be on an asset that we actually own. The RV park property was not an asset that we own. So spending ratepayers' money, this, like I said, this could be an asset that we can commercialise in the future and can become a really good asset to the Chute Harbour facility that's already there, and add benefit to the community and visitors and whoever use that boat ramp. So I don't see this as a liability, I see it as an asset. Whereas the RV park was not our land that we would be spending ratepayers' money on, so the money that we spend there would not benefit the ratepayers in the future. Councillor Rucker.
Can I suggest that perhaps before we go rushing in and spending $1 million, $1.4 million of our ratepayers' money on a state government-owned project, that's a failed project, that we put up with this boat ramp for a little longer because we've got a state election. Well, we've got our election first. I don't know whether that's driving it, but certainly there's a state election next year. In fact, after tomorrow, we might even have a new minister. So in that particular department, because we have a new premier, and there's probably a full cabinet reshuffle. So if we couldn't use this boat ramp as an election issue to get the state government to fix it up within the next 8 months, I'll walk to Birkenback. So rather than us rushing in to try and fix a state problem, why don't we hang off a little bit and actually approach the ministers and the opposition leading up to the election, which I'm sure we will get a satisfactory result and save us $1 million.
Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I agree with some of the stuff you've said there, Councillor Branca, but this is, to me, this is only an interim solution to a big problem. We need to advocate too. There's a state government election next year. I'll just throw a few examples out. My figures might be a bit rubbery. South Townsville, they spent $50 million on a boat ramp facility. Yorkeys Knob, 20 mil. Stanage Bay, 30 mil. And we've got a boat ramp that's unusable pretty much at Chute Harbour. So we really need to advocate with our state reps in the next 12 months and maybe starting Friday if there's new ministers. But this is just to fix a problem, an interim solution, that's all it is.
Thank you, Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just like to say I certainly agree. First step here is to take ownership of this asset. I think I remember in the report the first step we did with the RV park was to try and get ownership of the land. When that wasn't able, obviously that affected our decision of investing in that. I certainly think we should be advocating to the state, but we should be advocating for Chute Harbour Stage 2 and Grubby Bay. We should be getting a reasonable amount of parking down there, better boat ramps, proper facilities at the expense of the state. But I do see this as an opportunity to get benefit for the entire community by getting this boat ramp now, fixing an issue and it rolling over into the commercial program going forward.
Could I move an amendment that we spend $500 of council's money in installing a sign there that says this is a state government boat ramp and the appropriate phone number to let people complain if they see that the boat ramp is not up to satisfactory condition?
I don't support that. Councillor Simpson.
I don't know how we advocate criticising them at the same time.
It's just stating a fact that it's not our boat ramp. We seem to be worried about the public's perception that we've got all this reputational risk, but it's not our boat ramp. Never has been.
At the end of the day, I accept their decision was to build a boat ramp, a fixed walkway that would get through on the event of the cyclone. And that's what they did. Unfortunately, it's not, it hasn't worked, but they did build it to make sure that it wasn't destroyed in the next cyclone, because as many of you will know, that Cyclone Debbie absolutely obliterated Chute Harbour. Okay, final round. Councillor Wright.
Thank you, through the chair. And reading this report, it does say the reason they built the fixed structure is because of the wave action. So what has changed? Like if we go and put a floating walkway there, like I know the wave action we get in the boat harbour in Bowen, it's one of the safest harbours you can come across. They've actually built out like a rock wall out there, and the business on the corner that has the floating pontoons, they get smashed, just absolutely smashed. And we're talking about putting a walkway in an open bay. Like there's a reason that they've actually decided to put this fixed structure in.
And I did actually mention that in my talk, Councillor Wright, that the floating pontoon was adequate enough to work as a wave mitigation device, and that we could have a removable pontoon that could be removed out of cyclones.
The policy that TMR have actually applied relates to all of North Queensland when it comes to events. So when they actually did the design, was the policy that went from any area right up to the tip of Australia, Queensland. That was their policy. That's why we thought that this was considered about. It wasn't related to just shooting, it was an overarching policy.
I agree with Councillor Branca. We should have had a sign up there from day one saying this is not a council facility with the phone number to ring them. However, that ship's left the harbour. I would assume that the CEO will go hard and try and get us some funding, particularly in light of probably having a new cabinet, etc. as of Friday. I believe it's all happening. So I trust that the CEO will do his best to maybe 50-50 or something.
So we've got two issues. So we've got the current motion, which is you've not accepted the change.
I've not accepted the change.
So
And
the councillor may wish to actually make an amendment if he wishes to progress it further, or to progress with the motion.
Yeah, I'll move that we just put up a sign that states where it is not our boat ramp and phone number to do this.
I'll second it. Okay. I'll put that amendment to the vote.
Did you want to get it typed out first? You'll have it quick.
comment.
Seconded by councillor Martin.
Seconded by councillor Wright.
Just a comment. Part of this motion is to ask the CEO to talk to the state to look at taking back ownership, and the amendment suggests that it's not ours, so I think it's conflicting.
Councillor, probably the CEO. What's the time frame on us becoming the proud parents of this boat brand? In your best judgment.
Chair, I think what we'll find is if the resolution went through as it's on the table at the moment, we would sit down and negotiate through it. The concept is that that process would continue. I think it would only occur in terms of transfer to us when they actually have physically removed their portion, which then obviously we have the ability to put the new part. I would say that's likely to occur over the coming months, not necessarily immediately. Obviously the best time to remove it would be probably not in cyclone season, so we may have to wait a few months for that to occur.
I just want to speak to this amendment. I've got a little bit of a problem with this. I think it's basically punching the state in the face. For, you know, who we've got to work with to acquire this acquisition, so I won't be supporting the amendment. Councillor Brunton.
So the amendment's quite straightforward. So as Councillor Clifford has said, that I'm sure the CEO will negotiate a good deal. What's the negotiation still to take place? We are going to take over that boat brand. It says it in the report. All the costings are there. So there's no negotiations of 50-50 or whatever. The deal that was put to us some months ago was the fact that they take the boat ramp out and we spend our money on this. So there's no negotiations. My simple amendment is the fact that we leave it as it is, and then as we get closer to an election, if you want to go hard and get a better deal, because I don't think this is a good deal, that will leave you some wriggle room.
Could we add that we're going to strongly advocate in that motion in the lead up to the election?
I wouldn't mind if you put that in there, that's fine.
Well, advocating, would be advocating for Grubby Bay in the lead up to the election. That's what we really want, is Grubby Bay.
Yeah.
What this actually does is gives council this asset that we can, as soon as Grubby Bay comes online, we can actually commercialise, and it becomes an asset for council. So I think you're missing the kind of point here. What we're trying to do is that we absolutely want Grubby Bay, and we want to advocate for Grubby Bay, which we will do anyway, to the state for the election. This original motion is to take on ownership of the Chute Harbour boat ramp, put it in council's hands so that we can utilise it for the short term for the benefit of the community, to give them an access that the community is proud of and that's safe. And then once Grubby Bay is built, that we actually can commercialise it, so it doesn't become a lost asset or lost money for council in the long term. Councillor Wright.
Through the chair. So what's the time frame? When is Grubby Bay going to be built, and when can we start making money on this?
Director.
So TMO said that the Grubby Bay project is a priority. I should state that the priority is sitting within 170 and there's no budget allocated to actually deliver that, so it may be some time away already.
Councillor Simpson, yours first.
Yeah, just a comment. Craig's pretty much answered that. Like Grubby Bay it's not pie in the sky, but if we've been advocating for it for the last couple of years, but we need to step it up with the election coming next year. And even if we had promises next year, it might not happen for 5 or 10 years. There's environmental impact studies, all sorts of things. So let's hope, best case in 5 or 10 years, we do have 100 car parks and 4-lane boat ramp and everything else down there, but it won't happen tomorrow. This is an interim solution to fix for the next 5 to 10 years probably.
I'm going to put this motion to the vote, the amendment to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? So motion is lost, 3-4. So we go back to the original motion. Is there any further debate?
I'd just like to, I remember the last time the state, when I was mayor, come to me with a proposal of giving us the jetty down here, the beautiful historical jetty, and you wouldn't believe the price they were going to give it to us for. It was $1. Absolute bargain it was. Probably would have cost us $1 million a year in maintenance, but what we said is we love our jetty, it's an historical jetty, and we'll never see nothing happen to our jetty, but no thanks, we won't take it for $1. So I saw that as a bad deal, and thankfully now they're going to pay us $50 million to, and I don't know what that's about, but yeah, let's just be aware of deals coming from the state government.
And just to clarify, Councillor Brunker, the state didn't come to us, he went to them. So I'm going to put this to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion.
Call for a division.
Yes. Motion's carried 4-3 with a division.
So just, can you just check the cards I've got the...
So all of those in favour was Simpson, Paul, Bowman and Clifford. Those against was Wright, Collins and Brunker. You all done there, Taylor? Ready for me to move on? Yeah. So next we're on to item 11.4, the development application for the development permanent material change of use for the outdoor sports and recreation, archery and multi-sports court at Flame Tree. Moved by Councillor.
Madam Mayor, I'm just going to move an alternate motion to include the conditions for there to be toilet and shade facilities for people are using the facility.
Have you got your alternate?
I believe they do have it.
We'll just get the alternate motion up there and then we'll see if someone will second that.
This is the one that needs to have. Seconded.
So Councillor Clifford will second the alternate motion, or which becomes the motion.
Who's the second to the vote?
Yes, it's Councillor Clifford. Just get the writing up there and I'll just get you to confirm that that's correct. You happy with that? Writing? Councillor Clifford?
Conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to check the ones and three that
Ah.
have conditions as well.
So yeah, rather than just that the further applicant is encouraged, that we actually include the development conditions. There are additional conditions within the development that include those 12 facilities.
I'm just saying that apply is very prescriptive.
Yeah.
Rather than encourage, there is conditions. Is that right?
Yeah, that's not fixing that, we'll give it something up.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a development application relative to Clovel Bay. Councillor Clifford knows it well. There is a tourism zone down there that has a number of houses on short-term accommodation. I think they're going for up to $3,000 a night for a house. This is outside of the gates, around the corner, separate car parking area to provide an archery field and tennis and pickleball court. I believe knowing there are some issues with levels and proximity to the creek natural environment, that there are some issues with providing toilet facilities there, but I think anyone paying up to $3,000 a night would probably be happy to know that the developers have made the investment to provide what I think we would all consider appropriate amenities with a sporting complex at this time.
Anyone else like to comment? Have any questions? No? So if we just go back to the motion, please. So just a final check that that's all written there as you...
Highlighted in yellow, a bit further down. I'll probably just speak to it briefly again and ask the director a question.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do know we've got specific conditions here with sewerage and that sort of infrastructure, which we understand is in a flood zone. So does this still leave them open for other options, for any sort of composting toilet or another outcome that might be usable, or does this just go with what anybody else providing any other facility, any other service would need, you know, to put a toilet with a developer?
This provides them the opportunity to provide a solution that complies with the relevant controls and regulations. How they do that, there's bound to be several different options, and we will assist them in coming to an answer without directing them down one particular path.
Okay, so can I put that motion to the vote? All those in favour? Motion's carried 7-0. On to 11.5, development application for development permit, material change of use, short-term accommodation 4-car at present Early Beach. Moved by Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Simpson. So, Director, would you like to just quickly speak to this report, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is an existing 3-storey building. Has 5 bedrooms, and the conditions have been imposed limiting it to 4 as per council standard operations. It is on the cusp of the low medium density zone in Airlie, and certainly close to the area where numerous other accommodation services are provided. There was one submission from an adjoining neighbour that is the reason that this has come to council. Certainly the conditions imposed and the management controls coupled with the introduction of the local law, the recommendation is comfortable that the performance and the behaviour of patrons can be addressed, and therefore it's up for approval.
Has anyone got any questions or comments?
Briefly, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think we all know Early Beach is a popular tourist destination. I do fear that we'll continue turning over dwellings that are currently long-term residences and restrict the development of purpose-built tourism accommodation. But one thing I think here with a neighbour reaching out is this shows us there's an opportunity to provide clarity within our planning scheme. That if we did have something which told people, you move into the bowl of Early Beach, there is accommodation that can be here, including for short-term accommodation within the dwelling, that might be clearer to people, rather than having a planning scheme that says, you know, limited things such as, and, you know, doesn't make this clear for residents. So I do just feel, we know this is an area where we would expect short-term accommodation to be, but we could be doing better at making that clear to residents who are investing in our region, whether or not they'll be ending up with a short-term accommodation dwelling next door. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Can I put this one to the vote? All in favour? All against? Motion is carried 5-2. Moving on to item 11.6, the development application for a preliminary approval variation request, building works, height relaxation, 16 Bay Terrace, Shute Harbour. Someone to move that. Thank you, Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Wright. Director Neil, would you just like to quickly speak to your report, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The house is built on a slope, a little bit more than 15-degree slope. Because of that, the design of the house, the size of the house means that there's a very small part of the roof that intrudes through the 10-metre height limit. On the northern side of the block, the intrusion is to a height of 1.4 above the 10 metres, but it's only for approximately a 3-metre stretch of roof. Because of the slope of the land, it means that the northern side has a greater intrusion than the southern side. On the southern side, the intrusion is approximately 300 mm, just the length of a ruler. Certainly, given the slope of the land and the type of houses that you'll find in the area, it's not out of scale or dimension with any of the other sort of dwellings that are constructed in the area, and it's certainly recommended for approval.
Thank you, Director Neil. I've just got one question. Is this going to block anyone's view and we're going to get kicked back from blocking someone's view for going up 1.4 metres and a very small portion of roof?
No, Madam Chair, there are no dwellings that are higher on the hill. The dwelling is sort of tucked in closer. It did get approval some time ago for a closer setback from the road at the top. So that means that if it had to comply with that setback, it would sit further out on the hill. The submission that we received doesn't question the appearance. It's basically matters of drainage and tree removal. So to me that tells you that the impact of visual impacts to adjoining owners isn't really the issue.
Thank you. Any other? Councillor Clifford.
Thank you, through you to the Director. With the tree removal, is there nothing that can be done in the design just to, maybe switch the driveway to the other side or something like that so that significant, I believe it's quite a significant tree, can be preserved?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's not possible to change the driveway at the bottom because Bay Terrace comes in on the southern side.
Yeah.
The developer builder is conscious of that, and there is a commitment to replant any trees that are removed. Obviously they will be smaller than the tree taken out, but at the end of the day it's a residential zone, it's a residential lot, and you would expect the residential dwelling to go on there. So there will be some natural tree loss.
And just a reminder, the application is for height, not the tree. Yep, so can we stick to the height? Yep, thank you. Okay, any other further comments or questions? No, so can I put that motion to the vote? All those in favour? Yep, motion is carried 7-0. So on to item 11.7.
Madam Mayor, like I say, conflict
You've got a conflict of interest, yep.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I have a prescribed conflict of interest with this matter just from making a submission on the development application in January 2021. The matters that were subject to the application were for a preliminary approval, variation request for material change of use for a resort complex, and the matters that were the subject of my submission include, but were not limited to, the coastal hazards, proximity to commercial vessel operations, building height, and black bond site.
He's given an example of reason.
What's in there? It is an obligation under the Local Government Act that I do get those matters. I just tell myself that I'll be removing myself from the room.
Thank you, Councillor Bowman. Just please note that Councillor Bowman has left the room.
Can I just make a point? You're declaring a matter of particular interest because you've put a submission. You don't have to go through the whole submission to try and influence councillors on what that submission has been. Because you're pressing, I'll put a prior submission in, and that's that's the conflict, not go through each conflict, each division board.
I'll take that on board, thank you, councillor.
Yeah, just a point.
Thank you, councillor.
Yeah.
Councillor Bowman has left the room. So Councillor Simpson has moved. Got someone to second it. Thank you, Councillor Brunker. And Director Neal, would you like to speak to this one, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, this is a very unusual one in respect that the council has received an application for development at the Port of Airlie. It is currently under assessment. During that assessment, through negotiations with the applicant, it was revealed that the car parking that's been provided on the subject land is insufficient in our view. There were some backwards and forwards, and we indicated to the proponent that the application wouldn't be supported unless they could provide more car parking, essentially. So, the proponent is suggesting that that's going to be provided on another parcel of land. The minimum car parks that we think they are short is 19. The proponents have agreed to provide 50 car parks because we put to them there is a shortage of parking in that area. Very often the car park at the back of Cruise Whitsundays is full and there's often parking problems. So the proponent has agreed to help alleviate that pressure and will provide a minimum of 50 car parks on this subject land. And as you can see, lot 117 from the point of there here, car parking plans to provide 50 at the front as part of the first stage, and the infrastructure agreement provides for that they will be available to the public at all times, and they will not be, and they will be constructed before any use commences on the development site if it is ultimately approved and if it is ultimately developed. So that's where we're at.
Thank you very much, Director. Any comments or questions? Councillor Clifford?
Thank you. I must be losing it somewhere along the line. So how many are actually going to be on the development site? Director?
54.
54 on the site, and then they're going to provide another 50 on what was where we put all the sludge from the dredging.
Where the developer has, yes.
Yes.
But the development does not require all of the 50 that is provided for in this agreement. So there is, out of the 50, there is 19 that we say is required as a result of the development alone. The additional 31 becomes a benefit to the public and the community in additional parking facilities in that area.
So will that be permitted or paid, or is that up to them?
That will be up to them. They do offer, they do operate car parking on the other side. See, this has been no different.
So there's over 100 rooms in the development site. Don't we normally have like a car park per room, or?
Happy to address that when the development application comes back to council.
Okay.
That at this stage is due to come in January. Certainly there's some issues in relation to the development that's proposed on that site that the council, I imagine, will be looking to have some discussions on.
So it's in this sort of horse before the cart stuff then, if we don't actually have the DA for the room.
I understand exactly where you're going in that regard. The point is we're not sure which should go before the other. If you approve the development without the car parking, then you don't have the car parking. If you have the car parking, you don't have the development. Given the negotiations, this came up first, and yes, the developer will be coming back. Certainly, the developer will need both approvals to get something happening. If one falls over, well, technically they are likely to both fall over.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to the Director again. So couldn't they both be, concurrent, so that the building development goes comes to the table, along with whatever on site they have, plus the rest?
Through you, Madam Mayor, look, they could come at the same time, they haven't. There's an issue about, you know, which is first, which is second. It's just turned out this way. They both need to be considered by council, and that's where we are.
Okay, any further comments or questions? I'll put that motion to the vote. All in favour? None against, all against? So motion was carried 6-0. So can we bring Councillor Bowman back in? Thank you, Councillor Bowman, and I will just let you know that that motion was carried 6-0. Next on the agenda is item 11.8, sole source supplier listing for 2023-24. And sorry, someone to move that please. Thank you, Councillor Clifford. I'll second it. Director Rachel, would you like to say anything?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor. Morning, councillors. The report before you presents a listing of sole and specialist suppliers. A couple of times throughout the financial year, we'll come to council to update amendments to this list. It tends to be for proprietary items where we hold either a piece of software or plumbing equipment, particularly where there's no other supplier reasonably available for that work, and so we seek the exemption through the local government regulation for that to apply. This adds some suppliers and removes other suppliers so that we keep that list current throughout the financial year. Happy to take any questions on the actual list at the back. Madam Mayor, the report's somewhat mechanical in terms of our need to do this to comply with the legislation, our own purchasing policy requirements.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Councillor Bowman.
Thank you. And Director Jason, just going through, I know there's quite a number of historic software programs that are probably used to go back into old data. Is there much of an expense in that, and how long are we carrying this forward? Is there a record backup system or something that will remove these ongoing costs, or are we stuck with them?
Thank you, Councillor Bowman. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So there are a number of legacy systems, and as we consolidate our existing core systems around both technology, one product mainly, then those legacy systems will start to be needed less over time. Some of those we've been able to pay scale back arrangements because we're only paying for access some of those systems historically. They tend not to be great sums of money, but as we move forward in our consolidation to a single system of technology, then they will drop off over time. So we're conscious of that, but we still need access to the data that's in there at this point in time. So until we can migrate that data elsewhere, we'll still need to keep those historical legacy systems in place.
Any other further comments or questions? Can I put that motion to the vote? All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. We're just about up to our athlete presentations, but I think we could probably squeeze in one more. So we'll move on to item 11.9, the new library policies. Moved by Councillor Simpson, seconded by Councillor Clifford. Director Julie, can you please speak to this?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So councillors, I'll take that the policies have been read, but I'll just give an overview of what the aim of each of the policies are. So in regards to the library collection development policy, the aim is to assist the staff when dealing with challenges in the library, and that is due to the fact that there's been quite a number of challenges throughout the state in the last little while. Even one is, even the Mackay Regional Council were challenged on some of their collection. Also to ensure that collections meet the current and future needs of the community, serve as a guide to the principles followed by which the collections are selected, maintained, developed and deselected, and to refine the responsibilities for the management of the collections. hopefully then, with that in mind, it'll result in the introduction of a request for consideration of library resource form to deal with any challenges that may be brought up at the library with the collections. Detailed information on the collections, aims, content and scope, and a consistent approach to the collection development across all 4 branches within the region. So that's the library collection development policy. Now the next one is, the second one, sorry, is children and young people in the library policy. And the aim is to actually assess to resources and the parents' carers' role, responsibility in supervising what content their children are basically accessing, both in print and on the public computers that are in the libraries. It also has notes in regards to unattended children. Quite often there is unattended children in the library. So children aged up to 8 are required to be directly supervised by their parent or carer. 9 to 12-year-olds, a parent carer must be within the library. They don't have to be right with them, but as long as they're within the library. And then if a child's found to be unattended, okay, the library staff have the ability then to contact the parent or the carer to collect the child. If they're unable to contact those folk, then have the ability to contact Queensland Police. Also, school-aged children in the library during school hours, the staff have the ability then to contact the truant officer or the appropriate person, carer at the school. And also it ensures that everything's right for the staff that are working with children and the volunteers and the contractors within the library. And with all that, the result we hope will be the provision of a safe, welcoming and inclusive environment for the whole community, and to make it a lot easier on the library staff to be able to action should they need to.
Thank you, Director Wright, and I just want to commend the library staff. They do an absolutely amazing job in our libraries. And yes, we certainly do want to have an all-inclusive and non-discriminative environment. One of the concerns that has been raised to me is that the very young children getting access to material that is sexually explicit, and that's where a lot of parents seem to have a little bit of an issue with. So I'm assuming the way that I've understood this, that our policies, is there some kind of way to protect these children, that it is in those policies? That's the way I read it?
Yes.
That these children won't be...
Absolutely. That is the intent.
Of the policy. So thank you very much, great job. Has anyone else got any comments or questions? Right, can I put that motion to the vote that we accept this? All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried 7-0. And that brings us to 10:30, which is our Junior Sports Awards time. So we'll just keep the live stream on for a moment. Oh yes, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much. So procedural motion to adjourn the meeting. Yeah. All those in favour? Yeah. So all those against, I'm going to go against there because I don't see all the hands. We've adjourned the meeting. All in favour, 7-0. So, Council provides financial support for our junior athletes who participate or represent in a national or state regional level. So the grant is provided to assist in meeting the costs associated with participating in a representative sport. So today we have some junior athletes here with us, and our first one up is Charlie Snell. Charlie, come up. Congratulations. Yeah, that's all right. Congratulations, Charlie. So Charlie was third, sorry, I'll start again. This was Charlie's third consecutive year competing in cross country, and she travelled to Hervey Bay to compete on the amazing track. Charlie competed against 90 other girls on the day and finished in 56th place, which was a great effort. Well done, Charlie. Next we have Isabel Williams. So Isabel was selected for North Queensland Under 10 Girls Cross Country Championship. This was Isabel's first year at competing in cross country, and she even surprised herself. On the day it was cold and rainy, but Isabel pushed through and enjoyed the experience and is keen to keep training. Well done, Isabel. Next we have Charlie Williams. Certificate there for you. So Charlie was selected for North Queensland Under 12 Boys 3 kilometre Cross Country Championships. And this was Charlie's third year competing in the Cross Country Championships. Unfortunately, he felt unwell leading up to the trials, and the cold, wet weather made his race very challenging. But Charlie battled through and is driven to work hard for next year's event. So well done, Charlie. Next we have Hugo Williams, sporting family. So selected for the North Queensland Under 13 Boys Cross Country Championships. This was Hugo's third year running in the North Queensland Cross Country Championships. Hugo ran a solid race, and while the difficult conditions ruled out a personal best, he is proud of what he achieved on the day. So well done, Hugo. And Lincoln Douglas. So Lincoln was selected for North Queensland Under 12 Rugby League and Rugby Union teams. Lincoln was selected in the front row as part of the Under 12 Northern Rugby League side who won the State Carnival. It was the first time Northern has won the State Carnival since 1981. Well done. Lincoln then also competed in the State Rugby Union Carnival in Ipswich, where he played number 8 alongside 5 other Whitsunday Raiders teammates. Well done. Our junior sport elite athletes. Thank you. Good job, guys.
Where down in there? Oh, okay, thank you.
All good. So I'll just move a procedural motion that we reopen the meeting at 11 o'clock. All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. So the next item on our agenda is 11.10, the donation request for Mount Corn Community Christmas Tree. Moved by Councillor Wright. I'll let you second that one. I was really going to do it, but I'll put Councillor Clifford down for the seconder for that one.
Thank you.
Hand over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, the Magdalene Christmas tree was actually last Saturday night. They have requested, they did send through a quote earlier to the community team. The price has come in a little bit less than what they were expecting. I know that we're putting forward today to approve 2,000. However, I would ask it to be considered for the new donation price of $4,140. There was an invoice that was circulated yesterday to the Mayor, CEO, Director of Community and Councillors with the new price. And my reasoning for this is they're a very self-sufficient community. That they don't ask for a great deal. They generally help themselves a lot of the time. And even just with the community centre out there, they do, the ladies go in regularly and they give it a clean out. And yeah, they generally, if there's any need for road closure signs, I was talking to a gentleman who lives out on a property last week, and he just sort of suggested that he had the road closure sign, so when the road or it does go over, he does go out there. It saves the council crews having to run all the way out there to put the road closed signs up after the wet. So can I just check with Councillor? And you have.
Look, I'm happy to support that amendment because I don't think they get an awful lot out there.
Yeah, thank you. So that was, I guess, the reasoning behind this. And yeah, it was a really well sought out event, and yeah, the kids look forward to this all year. So yeah, it was a really great event.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. And I actually agree with you on this one. I think for that little community out there, it's something that I think benefits the community that don't get a lot of attention. We do have those other events like Get Active in our 4 major towns, but these little towns definitely don't get that same access. So just all this I feel is a good thing. Anyone else got any comments or questions?
Just a comment if I may. To Director Julie, is it okay to support this seeing it's already happened? Like normally it's in the future.
Absolutely, Councillor. Yeah. It's just the timing of the meetings and that type of thing.
So have you got the figure?
Yep, thank you.
Do we need to change the recommendation?
No, we haven't changed the resolution.
Oh, okay. Yep, right. Thank you.
So that's the resolution on the screen now. I've changed that to 4,140. So I'll put that motion to the vote. All in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. Next, we're on to 11.11, Sport and Recreation Facility Management Grant, moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor Simpson. Director Julie, I'll hand over to you just to give a little brief overview on this one for the community, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Basically, this is in accordance with the policy and the grant guidelines. Basically, it's for facility management for any sporting complex that has any more than one sporting committee or field work on the facility. Basically, Bowen, Proserpine, and Airlie all get the same because they all have more than one type of sport.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions on this one? Right, can I put that to the vote? All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. On to 11.12, the Sport and Recreational Club grants for December 2023. I'm going to be quick these days. Moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor Collins. And got that up on the board, so Cross Pine Taipans and Whitsunday Equestrian Group. Any comments or questions? Can I put that motion to the vote? All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. Next we're on to 11.13, the financial support for our junior athletes for December 2023, moved by Councillor Wright. I'll second it by Councillor Clifford. Once again, we've got just one. Wow. Okay. Any comments or questions? No. I'll put that motion to the vote. All in favour? Yep, motion is carried 7-0. So next we're on to item 11.14, the delegation of authority of the Chief Executive Officer for the Christmas closure. Moved by Councillor Clifford. I'll second that one. CEO Warren, I'll hand over to you just to give a brief overview of this one, please.
This is a proposal just to have the powers during the Christmas closure and when there's no council decision to be made. There's nothing actually on my books at the moment to use this power for. It's actually only for emergency period during that period if we need to use it. Anything that's done during that time, during that power, actually is reported back to the first available meeting in January.
Could I just ask a question through you to the CEO? So because you're going on holidays, will that then automatically go to the acting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Comments or questions? Can I put that motion to the vote? All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. Item 11.15, the monthly finance report. Moved by Councillor Clifford, seconded by Councillor Wright. And Director Mason, can I ask you to give you an overview on your report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Most exciting part of the meeting that you all look forward to, monthly financial report. So, again, reporting that Council remains in a stable financial position as at the 28th of November 2023. You see from the accounts that are presented for you, the operating surplus at this point in time is just under $12.2 million, and that's a reflection of spending the half year with certainly rates levied for that period right through until December 2023. There continues to be underspend in both materials and services in the operating budget and also in the capital budget. So being buoyed by sort of recent weeks to see increase in expenditure, but we're still certainly performing under budget in relation to the spend at this point in time throughout the year. The employee costs again are tracking well under budget, and they reflect the current position in terms of the vacancies held by the organisation, but we also have reported to Council that we are in agreement and working towards finalisation of the certified agreement change that's proposed to move through until 2025. So those figures will be factored into the wages for the second half of the financial year. We continue to see the growth of the organisation in terms of the net wealth. $1.316 billion is the asset value of the total at this point in time of the financial year. We're certainly working and continue to work on decreasing the outstanding rates and charges. There are water accounts that are still due at the moment, and we continue to make progress on those properties that we have listed for sale as well, with a number of those properties having paid in full at this point in time. In relation to the investment, so Council still holds a healthy cash balance there through almost the half year, and we'll see us continuing to pursue greater returns on those investments as we walk through the balance of the financial year, and we continue to see that increase in the interest rate cycle. So we've been fortunate in our most recent round of investments that were up to 5.2% on money that we've got at the moment. So That's helping us with interest revenue through the balance of this financial year. Capital delivery is down, and I know there are reasons for that. We continue to work on improving the capital delivery. The sustainability ratios are all within bounds. You can see that we are judging ourselves against those new indicators, and the green tick indicates they're all within the current boundaries. So probably happy to take the balance of the report as read, Madam Chair, and to take questions that councillors might have.
Thank you, Director. Any councillors got any questions? Councillor Bowdell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know it's mentioned about sequencing with the grants flowing through, but just a little bit we're behind on the invoicing to customers. Is that relative to water charges, or is there something there? Probably just the other one is just negotiations and stuff with looking forward in the rest of the financial year. Is our staffing costs looking on track there that we are, even though we currently got this under it?
Through you, Madam Chair. So, thanks. Yeah, Councillor Bowman, there are a number of, they're not so much rates and utility accounts, there are a number of general accounts that are being processed at the moment, and certainly we're looking to get those back on track. There are reasons for us being a little bit behind, but we have been through the financial year and we're trying to play that catch up now. In relation to the second point, there is sufficient flexibility in what's in the budget to be able to manage the changes in wages that have been proposed through the amended certified agreement, but we're managing the vacancy rate as well, and I think the important work that we are focusing on at this point in time is around our attraction and retention strategies for employees, and then making sure that as we're able to fill vacancies that we're not continuing to lose people at the same rate. So it is an employees market at this point in time. There are plenty of jobs around, but we're continuing to work on strategies to secure the permanent workforce and not only make this a great place to work, but also make sure that we're getting quality applicants for the roles that we currently have out there.
Okay, any other further comments or questions on the report? No? Okay, so can I put that we received this report to the vote, please? All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. Thank you, Director. So moving on to item 12, officers' reports. And yeah, go confidential matters, you're right.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I want to declare a prescribed conflict of interest for the confidential matters. I've got a few shares in one of the companies mentioned in the process, so I'll be letting you know.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Yes, I'll do we'll let Councillor Simpson read the room, and then we'll proceed in motion to close the meeting. Just note that Councillor Simpson has left the room, and we'll move to close the meeting. All those in favour? Motion is carried 6-0.
Who was the
Oh, Councillor Clifford and Councillor Bowman, second. So are we off the live stream?
Sorry, we can't come back in.
No, the media, yeah. So is media coming back in? No? No? So we're all good.
We're on live stream.
Is the live stream on? Yes? So we're up to item 12.1, lease 1, Whitsunday Coast Airport Jet A1 fuel supplier, moved by Councillor Clifford, seconded by Councillor Brunker. Any comments or questions? I'll put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried 6-0. Next we move on to 12.2, lease to Whitsunday Coast Airport Jet A1 fuel supplier, moved by Councillor Clifford, seconded by Councillor Brunker. Any comments or questions on that one? Right, can I put that to the vote? All those in favour? Motion is carried 6-0. Thank you. We can bring Councillor Simpson back in. Councillor Simpson, both of those recommendations were carried 6-0. So for your awareness. Moving on to item number 13, our late report items, which we don't have any today. And so then we'll move on to item number 14, our matters of importance. Do any councillors have any matters of importance they'd like to bring up today? Councillor Wright.
Through the chair, thank you. It has been brought to our attention from members of the community in Bowen and Gunloo particularly, just with the new flood overlay mapping that has been introduced. And I know we are currently working through the individual cases, but would it be possible if we could write to the Minister and just ask them if they could just double check this and just if this is correct, because it is fairly significantly, there's a lot of flood overlay in development areas that were never there previously. We just like a bit of clarification on the data.
Director.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's always available to council to write to the State Minister, ask for clarification. You would expect that each time new data comes out, it is refined and more detailed compared to the previous one, and certainly with the changing climate, you will have increased rain events, or at least their intensity will increase, and of course that will impact the data that comes out. Could I just clarify, are you asking for them to double check, or are we seeking information on how to deal with it?
Yeah, so like I know we're individually going and talking to people who are affected and building certifiers and that sort of thing to try to work through their individual cases. But just on a whole, like just the atmosphere that I'm sort of receiving, it's highly impacted certain areas. So that weren't there before. So I just would like clarification as to the overlays that we've been given.
So what I'm hearing is an explanation about why there's such large areas.
Yeah, that would be good. Yep.
I kind of agree. There seems to be these new flood overlays affect everyone's insurances. So
Crossbite as well.
It certainly seems to be across the board, which have affected people who were not in flood zones and now in flood zones, and now finding that it's even harder to get insurance in North Queensland. So we want to put a motion forward, Councillor Wright?
Yes, please. Yep.
So,
Does that cover what you're looking for, Councillor Wright?
Yes, thank you. Yep.
so Councillor Clifford, you happy with that?
Yes.
Which minister?
all right? Happy with that wording? Yeah. So can I put that, if anyone's got no further comments or questions? No? Can I put that motion to vote? All in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. Are there any other matters of importance to make? Councillor Branco?
Yes, Madam Mayor, just basically a comment, particularly from our last local government conference in regards to the OIA and the changes that are being done there. I'd certainly like to bring to councillors to the forefront of council. I certainly believe the way things are going in local government, that we'll have, the CEO would have to get a certain response, which is a cookie cutter response for us to respond to every email that we get, so as to give us some sort of satisfaction of legalities, because Councillor Bowman would respond to something different to Councillor Collins, as well as I to Councillor Wright. And you know, to have your basic human right challenged and by somebody sitting in Brisbane who doesn't know the full facts is certainly a threat to local government. And I can, without certainly no due respect to the Country Women's Association, but I think they'll be more powerful than local government in the future, because the way it's going, if something doesn't happen in the future, or that the state government accept the same responsibilities and code of conduct that we have, and the federal government as well, we're just going to be written out of the, we'll be sitting around here being a ceremonial body and have cups of tea and sausage rolls and maybe turn up to cut a few ribbons. So, and I know some people might think it's funny, or they can attack somebody by using the OIA on different councillors. It's a political ploy. That goes with the territory. But when somebody can challenge your opinion and then get the whole council and staff tied up in particular issues, and I have to see, I'll put the CEO on notice after seeing about an incident that just happened there before. Yeah, I find local government is very much under threat. Hopefully, and I spoke to the LGAQ CEO when I was in Gladstone, and they're hopeful that the new changes of the LA might calm things down a bit. I'm yet to be, well, maybe the proof's in the pudding. But certainly we are open to all sorts of an attack from members of the public who disagree with you. I just feel, I'm very fearful of the way local government's going.
Are you happy to have that recorded as a comment?
Yeah, that's a comment, yeah. And I'll report to the CEO for this, just happened before. So.
Councillor Collins?
Just in regards, to follow up from Councillor Branco. Earlier on, we had a response from the council to a resident in regards to the cost of the investigations. The investigation was found to be nothing wrong. Now that money, the guy that made those complaints, does it get back to them? Because you know we've got people out there with sad, boring, lonely lives that are sitting there making up complaints over the years, complaining about every single thing the directors have done, everything the councillors say or something they do, and they've all been proven wrong. And the council has the burden to pay for the costs. This cost of these investigations should go back to the person that put the complaint in. Are we allowed to do that or not? That's utter crap. It's disgusting. The amount of money we've wasted over the years, on investigations from continuous people complaining, the same people all the time. It's just, it's ridiculous, honestly.
Any other matters of importance? All right.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I think after the discussion earlier on today about the Shoot Harbour boat ramp, if there is a change in the ministers in the near future, I know we have meetings and stuff with Christmas coming up, but I'd like to extend maybe the CEO, if there is a new minister, to invite him to town, or at least express our concerns with the future of boating facilities in the Whitsundays. I know Councillor Collins had a I think it was 2016, a community cabinet had a promise
2016, yeah.
for the excuse my French.
Combat.
Got my Proserpine River boat ramp that never ever come to fruition. So just to try and get the communication happening again. Thanks.
I'll just make a comment on that one, Councillor Simpson. We actually give them a postcard inviting them to town every time we see them.
Good.
So it would be lovely to see some more ministers and that up in the Whitsundays for sure. I agree. Okay, no more matters. Councillor.
I call it an urgent matter of importance, but I think it's something we can do transparently here. I just know with the change of meetings, things like that, we've moved away from our monthly reports. I know it's obviously between all the departments and the staff, there's a lot of work putting those monthly reports through. We've got Community Services September one that hasn't made it public, but just wondering, are we going to get this sort of information flowing through in our quarterly reports and things? I think all of the councillors found it beneficial just to get that feedback, know what's sort of coming, or does that flow through in other reports. And then briefly while I'm up, I'll just speak to the other ones. Is basically, I think we all got to be aware that there are changes to the climate. We've seen the cyclone in December in La Nina, luckily dodge us. And I think we've really got to prepare, and our forward planning is importantly to keep our not just our current residents but future residents' resilience to these changes. And the other thing is on independent reports that we pay for to investigate. I know there's experience here where the independent investigators paid for by council have put something forward that has been seen differently by the Ombudsman. So we can't always say that an independent report is absolute proof of closed investigation. Thank you.
CEO, did you want to just respond to the reporting?
On the first one, so obviously we're moving to quarterly reporting. Quarterly reporting will give you a snapshot looking back, but also give you some guidance looking forward. So we're looking at ensuring that those quarterly reports have that. But there's also a range of information that's available live. There's a range of information that's available monthly. So we're just ensuring that that information goes to the right areas. But yeah, the quarterly reports should be focused on the operational plan and reporting on that. But they also have the opportunity to report on service delivery elements as well.
No further matters of importance. Well, once again, I'd like to take this opportunity. This is the last meeting of the year, ordinary meeting of 2023. Thank you everyone for your attendance and for being here for the year. I hope you all, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas once again to your families, and to everyone that is still watching online, have a Merry Christmas. And I officially declare this meeting closed at 11:36. Thank you.